morning, Illinois Realtors.
Morning, sir.
It is good to be here with you once again. I've graduated from the basement to the main stage. I must be doing something right, Beto.
Got you.
It's good to be with people who believe in community.
Booyah.
People who believe in neighborhoods. People who believe in opportunity.
That's right.
And people who understand that the place we call home still matters.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being those people. Let me begin by thanking Jeff Colbus for that amazing introduction. Yes, managing 118 representatives is tough, but I gotta imagine managing realtors is even tougher, right? I want to thank Jeff Baker and the Illinois Realtors for their leadership and for always extending an invite for me to join you at this amazing event today. And I always like to give a special shout out to my friend, I can't see her because it's so big in here and so bright, to Michelle Mills Clement. I can hear her.
CEO.
And the Chicago Association of Realtors for their outstanding work. And their continued leadership on one of the defining challenges of our time. Let's give them and all of you a round of applause, please. Thank you for being here today. Hundreds of realtors, I understand there's about 800 of you here today, brokers, housing advocates, local leaders, and professionals gathered here from all across the great state of Illinois. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Thank you for making the trip to Springfield. Thank you for raising your voices. Thank you for standing up for Illinois families. That's why you're here. You're here because this is about families. This is about whether a young couple can buy their first home.
Yes.
Whether a teacher can live in the same town where she teaches. Whether a firefighter can afford to stay in the community he serves. Whether seniors can age with dignity in the neighborhoods they help build. Whether a working family can stop living month to month and start building something that lasts. This is about the promise of Illinois and the promise of whether that promise is still real. Now, if we are honest, and if we're being really honest, that promise feels farther and farther away every day.
Yep.
For far too many people. Not because they're not working hard enough, not because they're not doing the right things, but because the cost of housing has outpaced the rhythm of everyday life.
That's right.
And when that happens, we don't just have an economic problem. We have a crisis of confidence. We have a crisis of affordability.
Yes.
We have a crisis, ladies and gentlemen, of opportunity. And we are here because we intend to do something about it. Did you all make the trip here because you want to do something about it?
Yes, sir.
I'm not convinced. Are you all here because you want to do
Yes,
something
sir.
about it? Across Illinois, I hear it everywhere I go. In church basements and school gyms, at town halls and roundtables, on front porches and in the neighborhood businesses. People are worried.
Yep.
They are worried about groceries.
Yep.
They're worried about childcare. They are worried about health care.
Yep.
They are worried about utility bills. And you know what's at the center of all of that? Right at the center of all of that is housing.
That's right.
Can I afford rent? Can I afford the mortgage? Can I afford to stay? Will my children be able to come back home? Will there be a home for them to come back to? These are not policy questions. These are truly kitchen table questions.
That's right.
Kitchen table issues are real. These are life-shaping questions. And right now, unfortunately, the answers are getting harder and harder. Now let's talk about the scale of that challenge. Illinois is short nearly 150,000 homes today.
Yep.
The first step is admission.
That's right.
We have to admit that Illinois has a housing crisis. Over the next 5 years, we will need more than 225,000 additional homes just to meet demand.
That's right.
Think about that. To even get close.
Quarter minute.
Not solve it overnight. Not get ahead. Just get close. Just to get close. We would have to triple home construction every year for 5 straight years.
Yep.
And yet, not a single Illinois community ranks in the top 20 nationally for new home construction. Not in Chicago, not our suburbs, not our downstate communities. So let's be clear. This is not someone else's problem. This is not a Chicago problem. This is not a suburban problem. This is not a downstate problem. This is an Illinois problem. This is a problem that's going to take all of us. And it demands an Illinois response from all of us. Because here is the truth. You cannot solve a housing shortage without building more housing.
That's right.
You cannot wish your way around it. You cannot study your way around it forever. At some point, leadership requires action. At some point, leadership means making a choice.
Do the work.
Are we going to keep talking about the problem?
Nope.
Or are we going to finally solve it?
Do the work.
Now, let me say something else, and this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Housing is not just a social issue. It is an economic engine. Housing accounts for more than 16% of Illinois' GDP. More than $177 billion in economic activity in just 1 year. And because we have not built enough homes, Illinois has lost nearly $10 billion in economic activity over the last 5 years. That is $5.3 million every single day. Every day we delay, we lose. Every day we wait, we fall behind. And families feel it first. Now, I want to take a moment because, as Jeff just said a moment ago, leadership also means listening. I think that's the most important part of this job. When they wrote the Illinois Constitution, I wouldn't have called this job Speaker of the House. I would have called it Listener of the House. Because if you're doing this job right, you're listening. You're doing more listening than speaking. And I've heard from mayors, I've heard from village presidents, I've heard from county officials, and many of them have real concerns about the build plan. I'm sure you're going to hear from the governor later today and Congressman Kinzinger and others. They believe sincerely that parts of it could limit local control, that decisions about zoning, density, and development have always been made closest to the people. And they want to make sure their voices and their communities are respected. And let me say this clearly. I think their concerns are valid. I think they deserve to be heard. I think they deserve to be part of this conversation. Because the last thing we want to do is solve one problem by creating another. But here is what I also believe. We cannot allow the urgency of now and the urgency of this moment to divide us.
Nope.
We cannot afford to choose between state leadership and local partnership. We need both. We need both. We need a build plan. You guys agree we need a build plan?
That's right.
We need a build plan, yes. But we need a build plan that works with communities, not around them. We need a build plan that respects local voices while also recognizing that this crisis is bigger than any one town, any one county, and any one region. Because when housing becomes unaffordable anywhere, it affects opportunity everywhere.
Yep.
So the path forward is not confrontation. The path forward is collaboration. It is bringing everyone to the table. Realtors, builders, local officials, legislators, and advocates. It is rolling up our sleeves and doing the hard work of getting this right. And many of you have heard me say it before. Many of you have heard me say it time and time again. Getting it right means we've got to do the work.
Do the work.
Because winners do the work.
That's right.
And here's what I know. If we build to meet demand, we can create over 760,000 jobs. We can generate $11 billion in new revenue. We can strengthen schools, strengthen infrastructure, and public safety. We can give families something more valuable than policy. We can give them possibility. But none of that happens if we stay stuck. None of that happens if we let fear outweigh action. None of that happens if we let disagreement stop progress. There comes a moment in every challenge when leadership means stepping forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our moment. This is our moment. This is our moment to lead. Because right now, too many people are asking a question we should never accept. Do I need to leave Illinois to afford a future? Think about that. To leave their neighborhoods, their families, their churches, their communities, not because they want to leave, but because they feel they have no choice. That should trouble every single one of us. As a leader of this state, it certainly troubles me, because a state cannot grow if working families feel left behind.
That's right.
A state cannot thrive if opportunity is priced out of their reach.
That's right.
So yes, this is about housing, but it is also about something much deeper. It is about whether Illinois remains a place where ordinary people can still do extraordinary things. Build a life, build stability, build equity, build a future. And that is why this moment matters. That is why all of you getting in your cars and on those buses and getting here matters. That is why your advocacy matters. Because change does not happen by accident. It happens because people show up. You show up and you go into the halls of the Capitol and you demand better. And I have seen what happens when Illinois comes together. I have seen us rise to big challenges. I have seen us choose progress over politics. I have seen us build something bigger than ourselves. And I believe we can do it again. Do you all believe we can do it again?
Yeah.
If you believe we can do it again, it's going to take all of us, not just lawmakers, not just local leaders, not just industry professionals, all of us working together, listening to one another, respecting one another, and moving forward together. Because if you know me, you know how I feel about this. My mantra is real simple. Winners do the work. Winners do the work. They don't wait for perfect agreement.
That's right.
They don't wait for perfect timing. They do the work because it matters. They do the work because families are counting on them. They do the work because the future will not build itself. So let's do the work. Let's build homes. Let's expand opportunity. Let's restore affordability. Let's strengthen communities. Let's prove once again that Illinois is a place where hope still matters. Because if we get this right, we don't just build more housing. We will build confidence. We will build opportunity. We will build a stronger Illinois. For that young couple buying their first home, for the senior who wants to stay in her neighborhood, for the worker who wants to live near the job that serves their community, for the next generation who deserves not just our hopes, but the chance to actually fulfill them. That, Realtors, is an Illinois worth fighting for. And together, that is an Illinois we can build. Thank you, Illinois Realtors. Let's go to work. Winners do the work. It's an honor to be here with you this morning.